one. Let's go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the I-42 tournament. We are currently in the winners bracket of this particular series. It's a double elimination format, and I'm going to bring you rANDY in the yellow trunks. He is playing Zerg right here to the southwest of the Shkuras Plateau versus his opponent Arcanewinds. In the purple trunks, he is playing Terran. Now, as I recall, you guys were saying that the levels were slightly too high on the game, so I'm going to knock them down a bit more, and hopefully that should make things good for you. There we go. And Arcanewinds is not a player I've seen before. rANDY I'm quite familiar with, honestly. rANDY's been a competitor in the UK scene for quite some time. Hasn't quite got to an international level yet. He does play in some of the smaller European online cups and tends to do fairly well, but he still needs to kind of get things going. I think the real problem with UK players right now is the fact that there are very few people who are able to dedicate to this game full-time. So, say in the Ukraine, for instance, this is the impression that I've gotten anyway. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. In the Ukraine, if you're able to actually win tournaments on either a semi-regular basis or at least place and get a prize, you can live on that money. In the UK, you can't. And if you get a few $1,000s from a tournament, then that's worth more in the Ukraine than it is in the UK, particularly with the current exchange rate. So, there you go. That would be my assumption, at any rate, as to why we don't have all that many pro players in the UK, or any, in fact, honestly. We don't really have any players that will just do nothing but dedicate to that. Going to get an expansion right here from rANDY. Nothing unusual about that one whatsoever. We're actually going to see that is a really early expansion. That's even earlier than usual. If you look at that, he actually did a hatch on 13 as opposed to 14, which that's unusual, honestly. And I know that I've seen this is not a mistake from rANDY. rANDY's done this on purpose because rANDY obviously will fast expand like most Zerg players against the Terran, and he always used to do it on 14. Doing it on 13 is very curious, actually. It would get it down slightly earlier, I guess, but I don't know how much of a difference it would really make in the long run. Arcanewinds is actually going with their double aggressive barracks. It has been scouted by rANDY, so it's weird. I mean, I have to wonder if he saw it when he passed that before he started on that. I think he might have, honestly. So his response to that is to go Hatchery on 13, try and get the Hatchery up earlier, get the creep going down. And the thing is that I'm sure that actually impacts his early game economy a little bit, because if he had it down on 14, then at least he'd be getting a little bit extra in terms of his mineral count. But I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference. Mineral field and mineral count is looking all right. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The income, as you can quite clearly see, rANDY's actually ahead right now, because Arcanewinds just pulled a ton of SCVs off the line and probably looking for an early bunker contain right now. However, he's only sending in a single Marine in order to do that. This will be interesting harassment. Pushes forward right there. rANDY scouts it almost immediately. No offensive units available for rANDY as of yet. This might even get a bunker contain right now. It's looking really unlikely that rANDY's going to be able to do anything without having to pull a large amount of drones off the line, which is what he's doing. That's a triple bunker contain. That's a little bit overkill. However, there's only single Marine behind that. So one SCV looking like it's going down. There we go. Nice play there by rANDY. That's a single bunker that's been delayed. However, there are more on the way, and he can't push his way past that right now. So this aggressive approach from Arcanewinds could very well pay off. We'll have to see what rANDY decides to do. I would think that he'll probably counter with spine crawlers, get the spine crawlers up. They have a superior range to the bunkers and nail them down that way. And that middle bunker won't go up, but this one will, and I think it's actually in range to do some damage by the looks of it. We will find out. Yes, it is. And there we go. The Hatchery's starting to take damage there from the Marines, and there is only 3 of them, so that's not a huge number, but still. It's a little bit of bless. It's not what you want. Spine crawlers are on the way. Will he decide to actually charge forward to take some of the fire off the Hatchery? I don't think he really needs to do that right now. There's not enough fire really coming in from the Marines. We've got a few more coming across the map right now. Now, I have to wonder how much of his economy he actually sacrificed to make this attack. I'm thinking quite a little bit. The 2 barracks approach early is not economically optimal, but it is very aggressive build. So if we have a look, for instance, at its army count, that's his worker supply right there. He's actually only on 17 right now, and rANDY's not that high, but it doesn't really matter because spine crawler's in range. We're deploying the second one right now. Does he have a transfuse to deal with this? He could actually lose the Hatchery here. It's looking very likely that he will. It's down to 200, going down to 100. It's doomed. That is really bad for rANDY early game, but we'll see if he's able to push his opponent away right now. Taking fire once again, in come the Broodlings, a little bit of damage coming on right there. He'll be able to get his way out of the contain, but he still lost his Hatchery while doing that, so that's nowhere near an ideal situation at all. Arcanewinds with a little bit of repair job. There's no point in really doing that. He's almost able to take the spine crawler out as well, just because that was actually deployed in range, and he really shouldn't have put it there. Right now, rANDY focusing to try and take Arcanewinds out of the picture. He slides past, he loses a few Zerglings. What's the defense like? It's non-existent. He goes for a quick wall off, and he should be able to get that down quick enough, I would think. Has he actually queued that? No, I was going to say that would be ridiculous, but there you go. There's the 3 barracks wall off to respond to that, but there are those Zerglings in the field. SCVs and Marines are charging forward on Randy. Take out one Spine Crawler. Need to focus down the second one right now. Queen's going to take a free SCV here. She decides, well, hey, I would actually quite like to kill this right now. In the meantime, here comes the attack on. There's a lot of pressure across a very broad front right now. Zerglings don't do a huge amount of damage to buildings, but hey, you can still keep at it. Got one Marine behind that one as well, so he should be able to take him down. Another bunker coming down. Surely Randy will kill this off. Why would he not do that? There's a quick cancel into a Spine Crawler, and this Spine Crawler actually won't stay alive because the creep will rapidly diminish. That's a hatchery cancel into it, so it's a little dicey, honestly. He's going for it anyway. Randy, I'm actually very confused as to why Randy didn't just take the Queen and eliminate that SCV, but there you go. Now being pushed back once again, and the remainder of the Zerglings going around. They'll be able to catch those SCVs on the way back. Very nice play there by Randy, taking a couple of free SCVs. Nothing wrong with that. And the economic situation of Arcanewinds is actually shot to pieces right now as a result of the number of SCVs that were pulled off the line. Now, as far as I'm aware, no Zerglings got in there, and I don't see why they actually would. But if you have a look at workers killed, Randy was able to take out 5 SCVs in the process. There are not a huge amount of workers available for Arcanewinds. It's still 16 to 26. So Randy didn't actually come off all that badly on that one. That could have been way, way, way worse. Much, much worse than what it was. Losing the hatchery is not ideal, certainly, but he's now transitioned into taking up to lair. He is re-expanding right now in 2 other areas on the map. He's up there, and he's up to the top of the map as well. So there's nothing wrong with that, and it's a good recovery, honestly, not re-expanding in the area that your opponent would actually expect you to. And Randy's money is looking pretty nice right now. He's got good mineral count. He's sitting on a large number of resources as well in terms of his gas, so he should be able to get things rolling nice and easy. And once the Mutalisks get onto the field, Arcanewind is going to be a little bit of trouble right now. We see that we do have a, or at least we had Stim. He's actually immediately cancelled out of it. He's now going to a factory instead. Another expansion coming out for Randy. Don't really blame him, honestly. Right now, his opponent has no means of maintaining any kind of real map control, so he can expand wherever he pleases, get his economy rolling, recover from the amount of damage that it actually took, which, to be fair, wasn't a huge number. Arcanewinds sitting around with a few idle SCVs could probably do quite a lot about that, actually. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 idle SCVs by the looks of it. That's not what I would class as ideal. It's alright over here, but yeah, I mean, sometimes people will just forget that they actually have SCVs hanging around. Wow! How many more idle SCVs? I think Arcanewinds actually has more like 5 idle SCVs now. Really needs to get those rolling as quickly as possible. There we go. Finally decided, hey, you know, mining sounds like a good idea. Arcanewinds, plenty of Marines on the field. They'll be able to defend this nice and easy. But once those mutants start coming in, we see the Spire already over half complete. Then I can see a lot of problems occurring for Arcanewinds. I don't know whether or not he'll really be able to push away any kind of real Mutalisk push. He does not have a engineering bay. He doesn't have enough Marines. He has only just started Stim, and he doesn't have Marine Shield either, so it'll be kind of messy. Centrifugal hooks coming in, looking for a bailing bust through this line, perhaps, and that'll be costly, certainly, for Randy. He's going to have to invest a lot of resources to do that. They're not as easy to kill, unfortunately, as, say, a supply depot would be. But he should be able to do it nonetheless. And bear in mind, this version they're actually playing does have the destructible rocks at the back, so that's going to make things rather interesting. Randy will be able to cut through there and actually access the back of Arcanewinds base. Now, more commonly, the version of Shakuras Plateau that's currently used, I believe the one that's actually in this tournament is an older version, and it is the one with the back rocks. The new version does not have back rocks into the base, and that seems to be preferable for a lot of people, but still, this is the one we're with right now. Units killed is still in favor of Randy, so army supply count is not in favor of Randy right now, because Arcanewinds is just pumping out those Marines, keeping them going. Work supply still in favor. However, Arcanewinds is really getting things going again. He's in a much better situation than he was earlier. Creep spread looking really good for Randy right now, continuing to expand across the map. Banelings on the field, no problems for him at all at this point. And really, I don't actually know what the plan of Arcanewinds really is. Is he just going to throw something out there? He's going to actually do some damage to get defensive. Well, he does have a missile turret, so he is just kind of turtling up for the time being. But Randy will be able to bust his way through those barracks if he wants. The funny thing is, I'm actually kind of surprised that he hasn't considered. Maybe he doesn't realize that this is actually this version of the map. He certainly scouted over it, but he could very easily just push through here and actually access the back of the base and go for a baneling attack into the mineral line of Arcanewinds as opposed to throwing it at those barracks. Quick scout goes out there, and it should be nailed down quite easily by the speedlings. Should be prevented, and we do have that Mutalisk force starting to get rolling. 3, 4, and now going into 6 mutas. Out come the Marines as quickly as possible, and we've got some siege tanks rolling out as well, and this will be the major push. He's been waiting a little while to actually get this going. Randy should be able to repulse it, I would think, depending on how good his baneling use is, and actually I've seen him in the past. He's very good with those. In come the mutas right now, and that is actually kind of well defended. Arcanewinds will be able to easily push away 3 Mutalisks, so I wouldn't worry about that at all. Looks for an angle of attack, doesn't actually find one right now, and in the meantime, Arcanewinds continues to push out. Got a couple of evolution chambers coming up for Randy to follow this one up, try and get his tech rolling at a good speed, but right now I've been more concerned about what's coming in his direction. Here we go. Marines on the front line and siege tanks up the front as well. That's a little bit risky, honestly. Those banelings could nail him down quite easily. However, Randy's able to pull back quite easily out of the range of the siege tanks. In come the mutas, and still not really able to find a point of access, honestly. He's going to do the roll. He's going for it anyway. He's losing a few banelings in the process. That was actually not ideal at all. Arcanewinds good defense right there, but he doesn't actually have a choice. He was forced to defend against that attack on his 3rd base right there. In the meantime, Arcanewinds is actually pulling back just a little bit, and this is an ideal time for him to go. Surely, Randy would have seen that. You would have thought. You would have actually seen him undeploying on that siege line, but evidently not able to take advantage of that. In the meantime, did the Mutalisks really do anything? Well, the short answer is no. What can they do? If you have a look at it, we've got 2 missile turrets, 3 in fact now in the base. Well defended. Well defended indeed. Flyer attack level 2 on the way. More Mutalisks will follow this one up. However, Arcanewinds does have Stim. He's got level 1, and he also has Marine Shield. So it's a bit of a no-fly zone right now for those mutas. It depends exactly where they go, but I'm not thinking they're going to be all that effective until he's able to start breaking his way through those defenses. More Banelings, Zerglings on the field for him as well. Upgrades are plenty. We're looking at 4 upgrades simultaneously right here. Pneumaticized Carapace, looking for some drop play, as well as obviously some fast Overseers, and the Zerg melee attack, ground Carapace, and the air attack level 2. Right now, Randy, he has map control, but he can't really do anything with it. I think that's really kind of my concern right now. He needs to start massing his forces. I mean, he already has a supply lead against his opponent. We can have a look at the army supply, and we'll see that he's only 1 ahead, but he does have a significant worker supply lead of 20. There we go, sniping off a few Marines for free, because, hey, why not? There we go. Cut them down as quickly as possible. Up comes the armory, upgrades on the way, Thor's on the way, I would expect. If Randy continues with this approach and gets a ton of Mutalisks out, then you get to this point where Marines just get put down too quickly for it to really work out. You can, of course, bunch up a bunch of Marines, but they're fairly weak to the attacks of mutas, and when you've got a lot of Mutalisks, you're going to still take horrendous casualties one way or the other. So supplementing them with Thors is a very good idea. Give them something that's got area of effect attack and is not quite as easy to pick off. Randy losing a couple of Overlords, but the looks of it right here, I think he actually sent out a scouting Overlord that got cut to pieces. And still, that is a lot of Banelings. Another 15 to back up the 9 that he's already got on the field. Zerglings coming in. Randy's still looking in a great position. Income comparison is still in favor of him. He's had those 4 fully operational bases for a very long time. His opponent's been stuck on 2, now looking to expand, but he can't do that to the place that he really wants to. But I'm very concerned about the siege line right now for Randy, but a great pick off right there. Loses a Mutalist. That's not too worrying for him at all. Looks for the flank, tries to get around as quickly as possible, and loses another Muta in the process, but still able to take out a siege tank, so that's okay. If he's able to take out those siege tanks, that's really the critical thing. He's going to try and pick them off so that the Zerglings and Banelings can actually move in there safely, which right now they actually cannot do. Right now, Randy moving around once again, looking for as much damage as he can get. However, Arcanewinds ready to receive, and nothing that Randy needs to worry about, though, because he's easily able to flank around. And, oh, that looks like a nice little arrangement of supply depots right there for picking off, and Randy currently sitting on those 16 Mutalisks, so he can certainly make that happen. He could crack this very easily and supply block his opponent very rapidly here. He doesn't have any spares whatsoever, as you can very clearly see. But Randy's not going to do that quite yet. Still looking for opportunities right now, as we see he's going to try and open up another access point, which should give him a fairly, well, you think you give him fairly easy access to that, but it actually doesn't. It's just at least giving him some maneuverability right now. In come the Mutalisks right now, once again. Is he willing to sacrifice? He is not. In fact, he is not cold as ice. And Randy flanking around to try and find another angle of attack. There is one missile turret there that he could very easily pick off. He does have level 2 flyer attack, so that would make things a lot easier. 11 damage on the initial hit right there. Plus, he'd cut through those SCVs very quickly. In the meantime, however, in comes Arcanewinds, and a lot of Banelings are on the field. They are, I believe, split into 2 groups. He needs to wait for Arcanewinds to actually get into a good position for it. In come the Banelings, he's straight into the line of the siege tanks right now. Those mutas might have to do something about it, which is what they are doing right now, pulling back in order to actually deal with that force. If he's able to kill the siege tanks, the Banelings and Zerglings can clean up. No problem at all. The question is, can he pull it off? 33, there we go, 33 Banelings, and that's 1 siege tank for free. Arcanewinds caught out of position, and there we go, all the way around, avoiding it as quickly as possible, losing 1 muta, it doesn't really matter. A couple more going down, in comes the engagement, in come the Banelings, there will be nothing living under that. That is brutal. 2.5 seconds is all it took to clean out Arcanewinds' forces right there, and here comes the counter-attack, and the question is, will he be able to push it back? It's looking rather unlikely right now. Army supply is not looking great at all. He does have 22 Marines still, but are they in the right place? That base is well defended by a planetary fortress. In he comes, takes out 1 and 2 siege tanks for free. Incredible play here by Randy, no problem at all. Looking very dominant the entire time. He has the map control. It is proving to be very useful. He can just go in here and just kill him. That's exactly what he's doing. Look at that. The health of the Marines being cut into tiny little pieces. He loses some Mutalisks. He knows he can afford to, because his opponent really doesn't have anything to defend his base with right now. 33 army supply now. We do have a tank. We've got 2 Thors, but that won't work against so many Banelings, and that's exactly what that is right now. Will he be able to crack this? This is really, really risky play, actually, for Randy right now. He's going to lose a ton of Banelings in the process, but oh, that is a thing of beauty if you're a Zerg player, folks. Rams his way through the planetary fortress. Nothing to worry about for him at all. He's okay. I mean, he can afford that kind of loss. He's not worried. In come the Thors and the Marines. That's going to do a lot of damage to those Mutalisks. Does he have the number of Zerglings he needs to tear through? He might take 1 Thor. The second one will be taken out. Will he take the second? It's so very close, but he's not able to do it, I'm afraid. A lot of Marines taken out as well by the collateral damage. However, I'm actually now worried for Randy, because Randy just threw all his forces away, and I don't know if that was ideal. He looks for another Baneling detonation, doesn't take the Thor out. The Thor is badly injured. But how quick can he reinforce? The answer is very fast. He's got 17 more Mutalisks coming on the field. I wouldn't worry for him right now as a result of that. Now, the thing is, Arcanewinds is reinforcing rapidly, but he's being starved in terms of his economy. We can have a look at it right now. Look at the economic situation. It is heavily in favor of Randy. Arcanewinds is not able to keep up with this at all. You've got a mined out area right here. Your natural expansion is mined out as well. Your Great White Hope in terms of the economy is just gone. I mean, you just saw it melt in a massive bucket of Baneling acid. So that's not going to help for him at all. And in he comes. That 1 Thor will not hold for very long against that number. 1 salvo, 2 salvo, 3 is all it takes. In come the Marines, stimmed right into the line. However, Randy ready to receive and immediately getting out of there as quickly as possible. Right into a missile turret. Loses a couple. He's okay, though. He does have the numbers that he needs. Map control still in favor of him, looking for the 5th base right there. And we did get a little bit of harassment. That was very easily cleaned up. Randy did not lose that base, so nothing to really worry about. And still major map control, major air supremacy. And we're looking at 88 Zerglings on the field for him as well. And he's not even close to capped yet. He's got more upgrades coming in, more mutas on the way, another expansion. It's pretty crazy, folks. He's just all over the place. He's got most of this map locked down, and of course he's preventing his opponent from expanding here as well for the time being. In they come. That is it really is the swarm, let's be honest. And it probably is enough Zerglings and Banelings to overwhelm that front line. And Arcanewinds forced it at distance mining right now, at least for a little while, until that command center is fully operational. In come the mutants again, trying to snipe off a missile turret, and he does it. Will he go for the supply depots, try and cut his opponent off? There's no real point, but he can take the armory out. That'll prevent some Thors. That's always nice. There we go. Armory taken out nice and easy there for Randy. How much more damage can he really do right here? He does have a good set of Mutalisks available. However, Arcanewinds doing as much damage as he can. He does have level 2 weapon upgrade, so that's inflicting a lot of damage to the air units of Randy. Well, look at that. Is that not a thing of beauty? 15 more Banelings on the way for Randy. And he should be able to blast his way through Arcanewinds' front line fairly easily. Gotta say that Arcanewinds has been defending extremely well up until this point, simply because he's been able to hold off repeated attacks. Arcanewinds has been in a disadvantageous position for probably the last 20 minutes, honestly. His economy is nowhere near up to scratch. There are now 100 Zerglings on the field because, hey, why not? Hell, we even have some Overlords coming in right here. We don't, in fact, have Ventral Sack upgrade, however, so that we're not going to see any drop play. We're probably not going to see any Nidus or anything like that. You know, Nidus would actually work really well to make his way past this line, but really, his priority is to eliminate this army and kill this base. If this base goes down, that really will be it. And wow, that's a lot of Zerglings coming in right here. And there's the swarm. Round and round and round he goes. Where does he stop? Nobody knows. And Arcanewinds has just been torn apart in the last 4.5 seconds. That's all that was really required for him. In come the Mutalisks. There's nothing left right now of Arcanewinds' defenses being torn up by Randy. So many Zerglings on the field right now. He lost the ton. It didn't really matter. He's into the base, and he can take out pretty much everything he wants. Now, this base is well fortified in terms of ground attacks, but from air, it is undefended. GG, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. And Arcanewinds losing this first game in the best of 3 series in the winners bracket right here from the I-42.